Okay, let's try that again. Evening, everybody. Evening, everybody. So let me try writing that again. Ooh, the admin. Okay. Hi, guys. All right, so I think it just paused because the Wi-Fi was reconnecting. Um, yeah, so I mean, hi, thank you, everybody. Yeah, it's an interesting day. Yes, absolutely. But I'm not having a bad day. Somebody said I was having a bad day. No, things like this don't bother me one bit. So, I mean, I did drive and get to talk a bit on TV, so that was fun. Mom, I made it. No, I'm joking. I've been on TV multiple times, but live TV is I've had the experience of live TV before, so I get it. All right, so let me just give the other people a few minutes to come through, and then I'm gonna get going with our conversation. Um, but I mean, it was the in fact I had a couple of different briefs when I went in. The one brief was I must come and motivate the youth, so that's a whole different conversation. And then the other one, I think when I sat down, I got another brief that said, talk to youth about business, about you know youth in business. So that was like, okay, I'm happy to do that as well. So, but these are topics that are quite close to my heart. And just let me know if you struggle to. Oh, okay. Okay, great. I think you can see me perfectly fine. Yes, no, I felt it was not right to go to bed with all this, beautiful makeup on. It does take a lot for me to have a face done. So, um, but in all honesty, I mean, outside of all that, I just wanted to kind of finish off what I was going to talk about on TV when we ran out of time. Um, so it was meant to be longer. I think even Francis was a bit shocked that we had to stop the interview, but we thought we had a little bit longer, but that's okay. I got home and I've already kind of smudged the eyeliner, but don't worry, dimhle man, dimhle. And I was feeling good going there, and I got to connect with some people there as well, so I'm all good. All right, so I'm gonna get going. I think people will just have to join in or watch this later, because clearly there's load shedding everywhere else, because I have backup power, so I'm good. In fact, it should have kicked in automatically, but that's neither here nor there. But I was actually thinking I had just finished the interview. I was like, life can be so humbling. I walked into the SABC, Mosne. I even had my Cartier scarf on, and I was feeling myself, my best shoes, my best this, my best that. And when I walked out, I was like, oh. So I've kind of been laughing since then, because I was just like, just that moment when you think you're so important, and then life just kind of like reminds you, I know that there'll be humbling moments along the way. So, but I find humor in those things. I'm not a person that's gonna like throw toys because whatever. The people that arranged the interview had good intentions, so you know. So so as I said earlier, actually, I'll just repeat that the one brief I had, the first brief was, to encourage the youth. So some words to encourage the youth. And remember, in South Africa, we've got a very high youth unemployment problem. It's a serious issue, in fact. So I was quite happy to go and share. And then we also, then I also had another brief that was about talking about youth in business. So, but all around the same line, which is encouraging youth in business. But I want to take a step back, and I'll talk a bit about the business part of of entrepreneurship, and why I believe the youth must really push on with that. But we talk about youth because we are commemorating Youth Month in South Africa, but the truth is that all these things I'm going to say can apply to anybody, to whatever age you are. And youth is, in other words, is defined as people up to 24 years old. But I know in South Africa, and I don't know elsewhere, but we typically talk about youth up to 35. But no, you are a grown person. You're not youth. You're not transitioning into adulthood, which is typically what youth means. But either way, I mean, whatever I'm going to share is going to help a lot of other people. And those who do not have power at the moment, as load shedding just hit, I will save this and upload it. But it's always more fun when I do it live. In Zim, does it go up? Go up to what? To 35? Yeah, it's an interesting one. But anyway, so I was thinking about encouraging youth, and when I was thinking about encouraging youth, I was thinking about the high unemployment in South Africa, and a lot of youth sitting at home not doing anything, and the serious socioeconomic issues that come with things like that, and the serious social issues that come. No, you're kidding me. You can't tell me youth in Zim goes up to 40. You're not youth 40. You're a grown, you're midlife. You're a grown human. You're a go-go and them cool. All right, so let's get on with it. So one of the things I wanted to encourage youth. So I was thinking, what are you doing? You are sitting at home and you don't have a job. You maybe have gone to varsity and studied, and or maybe tertiary, and you got some kind of qualification, but you are sitting at home and you don't have work, and maybe you are hustling something, maybe you're trying this and that, maybe you've been looking for jobs. So I'm gonna say multiple different things that that will apply to different scenarios. But I want to first address the youth that are unemployed. First of all, there's nothing that I can say that will ever take away the shame of having such a high number of unemployment in our youth, because that is really a serious issue, and it is such a disheartening thing for a country to have its youth sitting at home idle, because it creates several other problems that you will not be able to stop immediately, and it will take a long time. Besides the fact that the economy of the country does not grow, and poverty, people who are currently let's say poor people, will continue to be poor, because even the people that they had put their hope on, or their hopes on, or their faith in, they end up sitting at home. So it's a very, very disturbing thing. But I think there are things that can be done about it. So the Minister of Youth in Namibia is 76. That must be a very youthful soul. So anyway, let me focus. There are many things that I think can be done about it. And I think that, the unfortunate situation is that so many young people lose hope. So many young people find themselves despondent because, one, they expect somehow that the government is going to do something for them. But we all know the government has its hands full up with other things. And in as much as there's promise of job creation every year, we all know that that hasn't been the case. And I want to say, because I am at the coalface of unemployment, well, creating jobs. So I get to see what is happening within the different industries. And I can tell you that companies are not looking to hire more. They are looking to hire, in fact, they're looking to hire a different skill set than they did before. So what was a big demand before is no longer that. And they're looking to skills of the future. And what I'm finding is quite disturbing, largely in our society, is that we still have people that are being trained for careers of the past. So I think we have to be real about what is current and what will get you, employed in the future. But also, I'm just referring to what's happening in corporates. Corporates have been downsizing for years now. They've been downsizing. And where you see companies come out publicly and say that they're looking for 700 data skills or 700 people to hire, it's typically in the technologies, in the data skills sector, in cloud engineering, and largely technology. But not just any technology. Remember, technologies evolve. There's new programming languages. There's there's your Pythons. There's your I'll remember. They'll come. I'm not a techie, but I know because I work with them. And there's new programming languages. So those if you were once a software engineer or software developer, a programmer, don't think that what you did 20 years ago is still relevant now in terms of skill set. So you have to continuously upskill yourself. You have to continuously build the new skill. So learn a new skill every time, whether you are employed or unemployed. But particularly, let me close off the conversation around employment. I think we're setting our youth up if we continuously tell them, go to university, become a lawyer, and someone's going to hire you. Or go to university, become, I don't know, whatever other profession people are pushing onto their children. And I think that we need to be talking to the youth realistically. And the reality of it is, if you already have 100,000 lawyers unemployed sitting at home, trained, but don't have jobs, shouldn't we maybe be having a different conversation about what people should be getting qualified in? And I think we cannot ignore the fact that we are in the middle of a really, really large transition in terms of skill set and requirements. And this was probably happening anyway, but COVID has then hit, fast-tracked what may have been a conversation before. And I know that in the boards that I've sat on before, in the boards I sit on now, there is there's always been a conversation around technology being an enabler, and technology being, we need to be at the forefront of technology. But the truth is that prior to the COVID crisis, this was a conversation. The budgets, when we were talking about budgets, the first place they would cut budgets would be technology. So now the conversation is very different. Now, in fact, you're starting to see the reality of how technology can change lives and can change businesses. And businesses are more and more looking towards newer skill sets. So it's so important to keep yourself abreast of what's happening in your industry, and make sure that you don't just stay in whatever skill set you had 20 years ago. And I mean, I've worked with many people who say, oh no, I've been doing the same job for 30 years, 20 years. Yeah, I don't think that will fly anymore. So it is about sorry, somebody it reminded me C#, Java. Yeah, but I'm talking about the newest technologies, not C# and Java. Those have been around for a couple of years now. And I'll find them. It's not really a point of interest, but thank you. So I think that to people who are still kind of semi-employed or unemployed, I think that I don't want to say that, I don't want this to come across as though it's a careless comment, but I really think that you are in a better position. You are in probably the best position to do something that you've never done before, because you have nothing to lose. So you have nothing to lose, which means you don't have the issues of somebody who's employed, and if they go and try business, that's too much risk. What if? So that's why I'm saying sometimes you're in a far better position, because you are starting out and you don't have the baggage of what you have come to know as income every month. Because I think that this illusion of security is something we need to check on, because you can lose your job tomorrow. So how about we start encouraging our youth to do something for themselves? Because clearly the jobs are not forthcoming, and I think it's a bit irresponsible of us to keep saying go study to be a professional somewhere. So get a profession. Yeah, get a profession as a fallback, or to be able to enable whatever dreams you have. But I don't think that it needs to continuously go with you go to tertiary, get a qualification, you get a job. It's that's no longer the conversation, because clearly the stats speak for themselves. And what I will tell you is that large corporates continue to downsize. They're just not publicizing it anymore. Because it's no longer something that they feel comfortable putting out in the public eye, because they get too much heat. So the reality is that if you are sitting at home and doing nothing, or kind of doing this and that, just know that you're probably in a better position to try everything else, because you have nothing to lose. You really have nothing to lose. So I think some of the things I can offer is, you must offer services in your neighborhood. I think people are very obsessed with the idea of working in the towns, in the suburbs, in the big cities, but you have to look around your neighborhood and see what are the challenges that are facing your neighborhood. What are the things that people can babe, problem. Life is just getting so disturbed. I don't know what's happening. I'm in the dark, guys, but don't worry, I'll come back. Hi. Just give me a moment, because I'm really getting going. No, I am safe. I'm at home. I don't know what's happening. Just do me a favor, guys. Just give me a moment. I'm gonna dial back, because this. Yeah, I know. I need to actually do this topic properly. So just give me a moment, because this is our backup power that's tripping now.
Overloaded. Switch off all the lights.
No, the just the big appliances that side, electric heaters
and the heater. Run. Switch off the heater as well. In the passage.
So okay, let me continue and see if everything works according to plan. And let me know if you are having trouble hearing or seeing me, but I need my lighting back. Oh, because I look so good in that lighting. There we go. Okay, yeah, please do get a notebook and a pen. That's a good way. Yeah, no, today is one of those days. So a lot of people actually do ask me, do I ever have days when things don't go well? Yeah, this is one of those. This is one of those. Okay, let's continue. So offer services in your neighborhood. Somebody needs something, and you just need to look around you and see who needs what. It's buffering. Is it buffering, or you can hear me fine? Because the Wi-Fi is also just coming back up, but I'm here. Okay, great. I'll continue. So someone needs something somewhere. That's my first point. Offer services in your neighborhood. Don't look too far, because wherever you're trying to go, people are already there. People are already hustling something there. So just don't look too far. Start in your own neighborhood and see what services can you provide to people. What product can you provide to people? But firstly, it should be about what problem are you trying to solve? Because there's actually a lot of problems that you can solve in your neighborhood, and you can make a living out of that. But what I love the most about businesses that are cemented in purpose, which is trying to solve a problem that your community has, is that those businesses do tend to have legs. They last longer. They withstand the test of time, because you are solving a problem that people have. And don't try to be like everybody else. Just try to find something that nobody has thought about. And don't be afraid to get down dirty and do the dirty work, because you can't be too important. You can't be more important than your dreams. So you have to get down dirty if you have to, and do what it takes. So look around your neighborhood and offer services in your neighborhood. And number two, I did say that these offers, the tips and recommendations are not necessarily just for unemployed youth. It's for anyone that is actually looking to kind of get going with something, even like a side thing, or trying to get extra income, or because we all know one income is no longer gonna cut it. And I say one income, even if you're a 2-income household, you each have one income, that's no longer gonna cut it. So we should be looking for what else can you do to sustain the income that you get where people are getting income. Number two, I've now had the great pleasure of going through the NPOs. So the request for submission for NPOs that I can support yielded over 1,000 submissions. So I'm literally going through them for hours every day. And I'm doing it myself because I want to get to, I don't want to outsource that, I want to do it myself. So I'm taking my time going through them, understanding what people are doing, and I'm incredibly moved by what people are doing. And what it triggered for me is, first of all, what I've noticed is that there's a lot of NPOs that were started in recent years. So in about like a lot of NPOs that are 2 years old, 3 years old, which says to me, people are looking to make a difference in their society. But also, I think there is something of a clever thing going on where, remember, corporates all have a CSI budget, so they all have to spend money on corporate social responsibilities, or corporate social initiative, and they have to be socially responsible and give back to the communities. So I'm not saying go around starting NPOs just so that you can get money from corporates. I'm just saying that I'm starting to think more about the role of NPOs in society. And let me tell you what I mean. You must find an NPO around that does something that is of great passion to you or interest. And the reason I'm saying this is because there are so many NPOs doing amazing things that have access. They have access to funders. They have access to other foundations. They've got access to projects. They've got access to initiatives. Now, when you join an NPO and volunteer your services, what you are doing is unlocking, first of all, experience. Because remember, one of the things all these jobs you're trying to go for want is experience. And a lot of people don't. How can you have experience when you've just left school and you kind of like don't have a job? So experience starts somewhere. And one of the things I can tell you is that volunteer is work. Volunteering is work. So volunteer But what happens when you are working with other people is that you are unlocking networks. Imagine you go and you are doing an initiative somewhere through this NPO, and you get to meet people who come and talk at this NPO, or who come and expose the work that the NPO is doing. You'll get to meet people you never would have met in your ordinary life. So get up, find an NPO in your neighborhood or somewhere, and volunteer, because that's how you get experience. Volunteer, and you build up your experience, you build up knowledge, and you widen your circle, you widen your network. And this is such an important thing, because in the absence of big corporates opening their doors to people to come through, you have to find something that is meaningful. You have to find something that you can do with your hands. And I'm pretty sure some of these NPOs, even when you are volunteering, you can get a little stipend if you're going to do a project somewhere and you're putting in a lot of work, and you need transport money and things like that. So do not ever underestimate the role that non-profit organizations and foundations and non-governmental organizations play in our society. It is not just to uplift the community and do the work that they had set out to do. It is also a great opportunity. I remember when I started working, one of the questions I used to get asked a lot was, have I done any volunteer work? Because I was also a graduate without experience. But I used to do volunteer services. I remember, in fact, I think I've always volunteered for something. So for me, it really helped, because it showed that, first of all, I can put others above me. And when I say above me, I don't mean above. I mean, like, I can put other people's interests, and I'm quite empathetic. I remember I used to volunteer at a soup kitchen in the south of Joburg, and I used to, I'm calling it, it started out as a soup kitchen, and what I would do is collect collect cans of canned food from my friends and take it to the home. And the home was also looking after people who were in their last stages of HIV related illnesses and AIDS. And I would go and help this mama who ran the home, and she was a nursing sister, and I would go and help her look after the sick people, help them wash them, change their bedding, and feed the children, because that community in Finetown was had a lot of child-headed households because of the HIV pandemic, because a lot of their parents unfortunately got sick and passed on. So that is one experience I can tell you put me in front of people that wouldn't have otherwise put me in front of, because when people see that you are willing to get up and do something for others, that says a lot about you. So please do not ignore that. So find an NPO in your neighborhood, and remember, what these networks also do is they unlock so much. They unlock so much that you wouldn't be able to do by yourself. So I want to say that don't think you can sit at home in the times that we're in and do this thing by yourself. You won't be able to. It's going to be a real struggle. So find a network of people that you can work with. And number 3, please use your data for knowledge and searching. Okay, this is knowledge, so let's agree this is knowledge. So use your data for knowledge and searching for opportunities, either a bursary to further your studies, scholarships to further your studies, or internship. Again, I want to say to you, linking back to the NPO, if you look for NPOs that probably support what you are also trying to achieve, because if you're trying to study further, there are NPOs that focus on education, and they can unlock that network for you, and you can talk to other people about them. You can get to understand who's doing what, because I think they are a great source of knowledge. And I think that we live in a time when there's great emphasis on entertainment rather than knowledge seeking. So I know some people are going to roll their eyes at me here, but I'm saying to you, Stop scrolling through every single influencer's post and using the data that you could be using to search for scholarships, for jobs, internships, and actually just upskilling yourself and learning something on YouTube, or learning something and reading an article that you didn't know. Because you're unemployed or semi-employed or still in between things doesn't mean that you are dead. It means that you have to keep sharpening your intellect, keep sharpening what you believe is what you need to get on. And nobody is going to do this for you. You have got to have the drive to want to do better, to want to have a better life, and to want to push on. I think, I mean, the conditions are going to continuously deteriorate. So it's not you're suddenly going to have someone and that's going to plonk a great juicy job on your lap. No, that's not going to happen. You know, you are going to have to hustle hard to get to opportunities. But opportunities exist only for those people who are willing to see them, who are choosing to see them, who wake up every day with a sense of, I want to find an opportunity. Opportunities don't come knocking on your door. It does not happen. I can tell you that it does not happen. Maybe it happens for other people, but I don't think it happens for a lot of people. So let's focus less on entertainment and more on knowledge acquiring. So you see how strict you are about your data. I mean, I always watch my son. My son has the biggest data bundle of all of us, but he always switches it off. You know, he's like, no, I have to save my data, switches it off, and only opens it when he needs it, because I mean, he uses Wi-Fi at home, Wi-Fi at school, and etc. But I think data has become such a huge currency with our youth. So please use it wisely. I don't know how watching more influencers and more people who post these glitzy, glamorous things on Instagram or wherever, and watching amazingly entertaining things on TikTok, I don't know how much that's going to change your life if you're really struggling. So I think focus less on entertainment and more on knowledge seeking, because knowledge is what puts you in front of people. Knowledge is what tells you who's doing what. Knowledge is the thing that's going to really stretch you and get you where you need to be. So I'm saying take your dreams seriously. Take your goals seriously. You can't sit and expect somebody to do it for you, because it's not going to happen. And you can't be sitting around asking for money from people. Clearly, I mean, there's very little dignity in that. So whatever you can do it for yourself. And I really think that we need to start being real with each other. We need to start being very, very real with each other. Because if we keep lying to you, we're not going to build the nation's future. We're not going to build our youth. So number 1, 2, 3. I don't number, I just put stars. So now I need to remember where I was. I think this is 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 4, learn a new skill set. Learn a new skill set. Understand through research what companies are now hiring for. Please understand what companies are now hiring for. And no, I'm not in any shape or form saying that robots are going to replace us. I'm not yet of that school of thought. But what I'm saying is that more and more, there's a different skill set that is required. And find out what that skill set is. These things are written about. Reports are issued on the internet, either by your big firms, your PwCs, Deloitte, you name them. They do all this research. They spend all their money. These companies have divisions of people who focus purely on research and development and trends. They share what is happening. But if you're busy using your data to look at what shoe and handbag and exotic location your favorite influencer is at, instead of using this data to go find a report like that and understand what are people hiring for. So I'm encouraging you to reduce the entertainment factor and increase the knowledge seeking factor, because that is what is going to put you out there. That is what is going to prepare you for the future. And if you think that what skill set you have now is what's going to take you into the future, I just want you to say, I want to tell you that I don't think so. Things are changing so rapidly. And I get the opportunity through my business, which is a project management business. I get to be in the middle of, what clients are doing, what big clients are doing, big corporates are doing, because all our clients are blue chip companies. And being in the middle of what they're doing and seeing where the future is going. My conversation with my children is never go to varsity, get an education, go work for somebody, because clearly I can see where this thing is going. And frankly, I think they should take a chance on themselves, and I think the conversation should be about more and more about what can you do for yourself. What are the problems that you're seeing around? So be curious, look around you and see there are problems everywhere, and see how you can help solve that problem. And that's how you build a business you are passionate about. So, learn something new, understand where the world is going. We have got to seek knowledge, and we can't say because we are in the township or some rural area or that we don't have access to information. If you have access to social media, you have access to information. So use your data wisely, use your time wisely, feed yourself the right things, because it is easy to be despondent and lose hope when you are busy sitting at home and doing nothing with your life. And I can assure you, I am highly accomplished. I am okay in my life. But sometimes I go and press that explore button thing here on Instagram, and suddenly it looks like my life is just like a walk, like it's like there's just so much glamour and glitz in other people's life. I'm really just trying to make you feel better. I don't have those problems. Not all that glitters is gold. And all I'm saying is that it is easy to watch other people's lives looking rather glamorous and you feel like yours is a failure. But you don't know these people. You don't know anything about them. You don't know how they get their monies. You don't know how they go about their lives. So forget about them. And I'm not saying don't entertain yourself. I'm just saying, please just focus on what is going to build you. What is going to build you? Because you don't need more pressure in your life. You don't need more reminders of what you don't have. You don't need more reminders of all of that. I'm not saying don't get inspired by people. I'm not saying don't find something aspirational. But let's also be realistic about what it is that you are able to achieve where you are right now. And I would rather say you focus on doing what is best for you now, keeping your mind clear and not clutter yourself with what other people have. Focus on how you can amass enough knowledge for yourself so that you get to where you need to get to, whatever that next step is for you. Focus on doing that, and be so territorial and obsessive over what you are feeding yourself, because what you're feeding yourself determines where you go next. Determines where you go next. And there is no such thing as quick money. You're gonna lose a little bit of money if you keep giving your money to people who promise you returns, who promise you this, who promise you that. There's no such thing. There's no such thing as legal quick money. Maybe let me just qualify. You work and work and work until you get somewhere. So don't be despondent. Don't be despondent. Don't look at what others are doing. Just focus on what you can do for yourself. And believe me, someday someone will be thinking you are the best thing that has ever come on earth. But first, you must work to get there. So focus. Number 5. I think this is number 5. Yeah. When studying, if you are studying or if you're doing a business, I want to ask you to please choose something that is not in abundance. You have got to do something that differentiates you from everybody else. If you go and do exactly the same thing, that's okay. But find something that says people must come buy from you. So what is your differentiator? What is your differentiating qualities? Hey, I don't know if that English exists, but okay, you got me. So what is it about you that makes people want to come and knock on your door? And I can tell you, there is nothing that you do in your life every single day to build yourself up that becomes waste down the road. No such thing. Because think about it. If you fed yourself good knowledge, someday you might be in a room where there are such important people and you're talking about important things and you contribute to this conversation and somebody's like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I met you. And that's how an opportunity comes. So when you're going to do something, please don't do something that many other people are already doing it. But I know that people want to say, okay, let me chase passion. I'm not passionate about this. I'm not passionate about that. Okay, do you have the luxury of passion if you're unemployed? I don't yet have an opinion on it, so I would like to put it out there and say that yes, you need passion to keep going with your dreams, to chase what you like, because then work does not feel so wacky. But if you have nothing to lose, I say try it. Try different things. Find an opportunity. And I really believe that sometimes you just have to find an opportunity that will change your life in some shape or form, thereby enabling your passions. So sometimes what you're going to have to do now is just the means to the end that you are hoping for. So don't just say, no, I'm not passionate about that, therefore I'm not going to do it. No, I just think that there's an opportunity. If there's an opportunity for you to do something, take it and build up to your passion. And you know, that's how I've also done a lot of things in my life, is build up one platform and then let that platform enable all of these other things that I want to do. I can't do my humanitarian work. I can't do my charitable work. I can't do anything if I don't have one thing that is going for me. So think about where you are and the opportunities that you are creating and the opportunities that you are accessing, and see how they can be a means to your end if they are not the one. And I don't think that you should just tie yourself to just one thing. I think you should try different things, but focus on making one work so well that it enables all the others. And that's what I've done. So you also won't hear me saying things like I'm a serial entrepreneur, because I just think these phrases are just so weird. I'm an entrepreneur. I happen to have some businesses, different businesses here and there, but I just think, you know, even if you're doing a lot of things, find one that you will be able to just like build solid, and then, you know, venture out and do other things, because that's the spice of life, is multiple different things. Okay. I think that was 6. I'm not going to count anymore. You count. The next point. Join a student hiring agent. So a student agency. Join a student agency. It's not enough to say there are no jobs. It's not enough to say, there's nothing for me, I've lost hope. You know, when I was at varsity, how I got myself through university, I mean, there was the first 6 months where I kept going to try and get a student loan, kept trying to get a bursary. Nothing was happening. I kept queuing up from 6 o'clock in the morning before lectures to try and get money from TEFSA at the time. It was not happening. But I joined a student agency where they found jobs for students. And one of the jobs I got was to stand at the corner of traffic lights and dish out pamphlets. Now that's not glamorous, that's not pretty, that's not, you know, ideal, but I needed to make money to get myself through university. So I did that. I used to work at corner shops and at coffee shops. I used to go to varsity, do my lectures during the day, finish school. After lectures, I'd go to the library quickly, do my work, and then 2 o'clock I'd be starting a shift sometimes. Sometimes I'd start a 5 o'clock shift, and I would finish around midnight, 1 o'clock. But I worked, and I used to get paid 8 rands an hour. So I worked. All I've ever done in my life is work, and got myself through university. I mean, I used to, before I even got the approval for the loan, which came 6 months later, with a financial exclusion letter in my hand. My dreams were getting dashed in that moment, but eventually it came through. It came through. I worked. Even when I got the loan, 40% of it I had to pay back. 40% was converted to a bursary if I passed all my subjects, which was not a problem. 20% I had to work for. So I had to work. When people were going home during holidays, I had to go and work. I would file these little glass slides, and whatever job when they do those tests, blood tests, I used to file those things. That's the small. At the research council, I had a room full of these things, and every time I cried about it, I reminded myself why I was doing this. I whatever job the bursary office found for me, I had to do. I didn't have a choice. I couldn't say, oh no, this is it's below my standard. I was an admin clerk in the bursary office. I did so many jobs just to get myself somewhere, just to get going, because I guess I had the privilege and the luxury of not having anything to fall back on, no one to call and say, bail me out. And in that way, it meant that I had to rely on myself so much. I had to rely on my drive and determination. And I must tell you that, a lot of people look for motivation, and motivation does not last. Motivation is enough to say, oh yeah, I want to do something about it. But if you don't get up and do something about it, it's not going to happen. So I hope that you find the drive in you to change your life in some shape or form, whatever that is. So I remember a friend of mine, I don't know, I think she was a friend, but clearly the friendship was ending. One of the things she said to me when I was at varsity was, oh, you, Amanda, you'd even scrub toilets if you had to. Somehow I think she was insulting me, but I think it was the greatest compliment. I was like, yeah, well, you have a mother that you can run back to. You have a home where you can go and become, I had to keep going. I did not have that luxury. You have to be determined to want to see your life change. You must drive towards your goals. And you're not going to do it if you're not disciplined, if you don't get up and do what you need to do. So join a student hiring agency if you're unemployed, if you're semi-employed, if you're a student, if you've graduated but you don't have anything. There's so much there's so much information out there. Find one, find an agency that can find you jobs, even if it's just, low paying jobs, but at least you're working. That's how you get the information. That's how you get experience. That's how you get knowledge, especially experience. And no experience is ever wasted. No experience is ever wasted. Walk into some establishments. I don't understand when people are too proud to go or knock on someone's door and ask for a job. So you are hungry and proud and hungry. So I don't get that. I don't get how, people always feel like some jobs are beneath them. What is beneath you is going to bed hungry. When you have hands, you have feet, you have brains, you have everything you need to do something for yourself. I mean, I think one of the most inspiring stories or inspiring people are those mamas who we grew up sitting they sat at the corner selling potatoes, selling tomatoes, vegetables, I remember buying from them. Even when I went to school in town, high school, we'd walk and buy from these gogos and aunties, and they managed to take kids to school, varsity, the kids who have gone on to become something. But somehow we think jobs are beneath us. We think that going to pack groceries at a supermarket is beneath us. That's one of the jobs I did, stock taking. If you've never done stock taking in your life, Aisha, you don't know what hard work is. I did stock taking. I would do stock taking at supermarkets until 3 o'clock in the morning. Stock taking is a tough job, tough job. But I did that. I would go and stand on a Saturday at a big department store and promote perfumes and look silly there, asking people to spray things that they don't even want. But it was a job, and I did it with great determination because I knew what it was getting me, where it was getting me. I knew where I was headed. Okay. Another point, sell something, and it's linked to what I've just said about those go-go's. Sell something. When you understand what people are requiring, what people need, remember when I said earlier, offer services in your neighborhood, get to understand what are people, be smart about this thing, guys. Walk around, understand what people are doing, ask what people are doing. Imagine in your neighborhood, you probably have a bunch of working people who have to rush every morning, drop off their kids at the crash or whatever. And then they're working in town or somewhere and they can't come back during the day to fetch their kids. There's so many problems you could be solving there, and it's your neighborhood, so people know you. Hopefully you are a good person. I think about it. I had an idea the other day. I cook, so I like sharp knives. Like, I think the worst thing for a cook is a blunt knife. So I got this little device thing that I bought from one of these stores where I sharpen my knives. I use it to sharpen my knives. And I started thinking, this is such a great idea for people in the townships. I don't know about you, but every time I'm in the township, be it my mom's house or, somewhere else, the knives are just not sharp, So I end up traveling with my own knives. Even when I go see my mom-in-law in Pietermaritzburg, I travel with my own knives. Because I just can't stand blunt knives. Like, honestly, they put me off. Like, they just no, it doesn't work for me. I thought about it the other day. I'm like, this is such a great business idea. Why won't some young kids somewhere find a mechanical, industrial type knife sharpening equipment? I mean, it can't cost much. And they can start off by going around people's houses and sharpening their knives, and you can charge $20 for this thing or something. I'm just like, do something. You can't just sit at home and not do anything. You can't say, I've lost hope, and then you sit and watch TV all day, or you're on social media all day. No. We have to do something. So sell something, service someone, and people need some kind of help. By the way, if you are struggling mentally, if you're struggling psychologically, if you're struggling emotionally, please seek help. Please seek help, because this is not easy for everybody. It's not easy to not be able to do something for yourself and do something for your life. It really can get depressing. So, I mean, FAMSA was one of the people who sent me a submission for support. So I will mention them here. FAMSA is available at most townships, most city centers. You can go and seek professional psychological help for free. I mean, there's associations that are dealing with depression, and they do it for free. I think it's SADC, South African Association for Depression or something, depression and anxiety. Those people offer free services as well. So if you are struggling and you just need to talk to somebody, please don't suffer alone and think that you are a failure, because you are not. You're just going through a rough patch, and you can get yourself out of that rough patch. So talk to somebody if you're struggling. And I'm also going to add that, it really, COVID has definitely not helped the situation. So, I mean, unemployment was always a bit of an issue, but it's just deteriorated amongst other reasons, because there's many other reasons. And no, it's not just, believe me, corruption is right there at the top of the list, but also global conditions have changed. Global conditions have changed. And we are not some island. We are 100% connected to the rest of the globe. I mean, we also, what happened with the petrol price when the war in Ukraine started. So there's so many things that are also often outside of our control. But the stuff that we can control is looking around us and saying, how can you solve a problem? How can you solve a problem in your neighborhood, in your environment, in your country? And you cannot lose hope. You cannot lose hope. You have to keep going. And when you are feeling like things are caving in and you're not getting somewhere, get up and go see other people. Go connect with other people. And when I started this, I talked about finding NPOs. Go connect with other people. And the more you go and connect with other people, the more your world will widen up, the more those networks and opportunities will open up. It's not going to roll into your house or knock on your door. You have to go find them. You have to go find them. I must tell you about a guy that, there was a guy in our neighborhood. Every time I drove, I'd see this guy sweeping the street in our neighborhood. And this is a recent thing. And I thought, oh, okay, because COJ is putting in new water pipes because we had water issues for a while. I thought, okay, no, this guy is hired by the city council to make sure that our streets are clean. And so he was sweeping, but young man, but he was sweeping with so much determination, and that's why I took an interest in him, because I'm like, this is not a glamorous job. This is not sweeping a street, guys. It's not exactly like top drawer stuff, but this guy was doing it with such heart. And every time I went past him, I would say hello to him. And one day, but I thought he came here through the council. But one day, my husband actually told him to come to us, because he wanted to talk to him. And I had never said anything about this guy to my husband, but he was also experiencing the same thing every time he saw him. So he came, and he then was sweeping, the streets by our house. And my husband said to me, no, this guy was actually one of our neighbors, found him at the supermarket with a board and seeking work. And somehow, he got the opportunity. And I'm saying that opportunities are not going to knock on your door. They're not going to walk in and say, hey, where are you? Come, we have something for you. You have to go out there and take a chance on yourself and create the opportunities. And I can tell you that this guy, every single one of us in this neighborhood adore him. He probably makes more money sweeping our streets than he would make elsewhere. But it's not just the fact that somebody said, come and sweep our streets, because that's actually a job of a council. The council used to send trucks here and who would sweep our streets, but it hasn't been done in a while. So he makes decent living just sweeping our streets maybe 2-3 times a week. So I'm just saying that you can't be too important for your dreams. You have to do what it takes. And forget dreams. I'm just talking plate of food. Plate of food. You can't be too important to put food on the table. So you gotta find those opportunities. Get up, get out of your house. Get out, stop watching TV, stop social media surfing. Just stop binging. Hey, stop binging on anything. Just get up and go find something. Look around your neighborhood. What is happening? who's doing what, who needs help with what, because that's where your opportunities lie. So I think that, you know, some of the things, having a youth that is idle in any country is a recipe for epic disaster. And we know this. We've seen the effects of this in our country. But not all hope is lost. So we have to keep pushing. We have to keep creating spaces where the youth can feel like they can also talk about their problems. They can talk about their problems. And please follow, if you have to follow people on Instagram or social media, wherever, follow people who are building you. Follow people who are building you, not people who are making you feel like you are more of a failure. And they may not be doing that purposefully, but what you are consuming ultimately determines how you feel about yourself. And listen, I just think sometimes some people, yes, are just carrying on with their lives, but sometimes if you're not in a good space, exit until you are mentally strong enough to handle what you get to see. Because the problem with these things is that they're fed to you. Like, you know, every time you open, and this is how these social media platforms work, the more attractive something is, the more, you know, they show it to you. But the truth is that if you're not feeling good about yourself, or you are really struggling and you're trying to hustle something, what you consume really, really matters. So I hope you consume things that build you, you consume things that don't make you lose hope, and you take advantage of opportunities and free services that are offered, because people are offering those things so that they can help you. You don't always have to pay for things. There are free things, but you need to find the knowledge. You need to be knowledgeable enough to know where that is. And if you use your data for other things, then I am sorry, you're going to struggle still. So, I mean, an idle youth is a problem, because then our economy doesn't grow. You have increased costs for the country. You know, a country that is on welfare, people that are on welfare, if you live off grants, I know people think this is a solution. It's not a solution. You're just digging people more and more into trouble. But I don't want to talk about that, because it's a far more complex thing than just simplifying it. But what I'm saying is that it ends up costing the state, the country, so much money to look after its citizens. But looking after, I mean, I'm telling you that a guy who sweeps our street, let's just say he gets $200 from us, so 300 rands from us, and gets another 200 from the neighbor, another $100 from another neighbor. Let's just say only 5 of us as neighbors even pay him. He's already made more money than the grant a month. So I'm just maybe making that as an example to encourage people that not all hope is lost. I mean, we all know what happens with crime, substance, and alcohol abuse. Are you going to bed? Oh, shame, baby. I'll come and say good night, my love. So, you know, crime, substance, and alcohol abuse. When you have a youth that's just chilling there in the corners and doing nothing, and also teenage pregnancies, all of these are serious social ills that lead to a country that is typically failing, because the youth is not contributing. The youth won't be able to pay tax, you know, and youth is a significant, a huge part of our population. In fact, I was reading somewhere that the world has more youth than it does the aged or the advanced. So it's that's serious, right? So I do worry about it. It's something that you know, pushes me to do more and more where I can. So let's see where we go. But here's now what I want to talk about. Some of the advantages of young people trying entrepreneurship, besides everything else that I've said. You know, the life skills that you get as an entrepreneur, whatever you try. I mean, I started being, I remember that, okay, let me talk about the first time I actually got serious about business. I was selling stuff. I was selling flowers. I was doing creations. So many of you are creative. Why don't you just do something with that creativity? I would have been asleep by now, guys. So if the English keeps breaking transmission. It's because I am supposed to be sleeping. So people are so creative. Create something. I actually think that we need to start fighting more for people to create things than go look for a job. Create something and sell it. If you have talent, you have talent. You have a lifetime of doing something. If you have God has granted you talent, do something with it. My kids used to make art. I think now they've lost inspiration along the way, so I'm waiting for inspiration to kick in. My kids did the most amazing artwork. We actually have it hung at home here, and we've also had a lot of their art. We sold it, and I did that. I sold it because I was trying to teach them that for as long as you've got talent, you never have to go to bed hungry. And I'm not saying you get rich immediately. I'm just saying you have talent, you can put food on your table, you can buy bread. Do something with that talent, because God didn't just give you talent not to do anything with it. So do something with it. And there's this thing that happens a lot in European countries. And I'll talk about European countries because that's where I've seen it happen the most, and I'm pretty sure in the Americas as well, where people who can sing go and stand at the station or at a piazza or whatever public space they can find, and get some kind of support from the public. That's enough to get you food at the end of the day. Now, I have a problem with people that stand at the corners of traffic lights and beg for money for food. I tell you why I have a problem with it. It's not that I don't give. I do sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, I'm not actually solving the problem. I'm not solving the real problem when I keep giving them money for food. It's the same as my own siblings. I decided that, either I create a job and you work and you earn money, or I can't keep giving you money, because that is not sustainable. And what I'm saying is that you don't have to work. I must go and slave away just so that you get food every time. So we have to be looking for sustainable solutions for people. And when I say sustainable solutions, I really do believe in somebody earning the money. So somebody must do something and earn the money. It can't just be that you're just going to beg for money and expect people to give you. And some of these people, you don't give them money, they swear at you. I'm like, oh, okay. So I think we really should be looking at what sustainable solutions can we give rather than just keep giving money. And it's a serious problem. So yes, let's see how we can get out of this, and how the youth can actually get up and do something. And there's always somebody who's willing to hold your hand. There's always somebody who's willing to say, listen, I see what you're trying to do with your life, but nobody's going to hold your hand if you're sitting at home and not doing anything. I mean, go around. I actually have another example. There's a young man who trains my husband. He cycles, this guy. And how my husband met him, my husband's company supports their cycling club as one of their CSI initiatives. And I'm telling you guys, if you don't reach out to your NPOs and foundations and see what people are doing, you will not have access to real opportunities. So do something, get out there. So my husband met this young man through a not-for-profit that they support. That's, I think it's a cycling club. And this guy ended up, apparently he's even gone to he cycled overseas as well with this club. So my husband then got him to come and train and coach him, because my husband cycles as well. So this young man would get here early morning, cold, and he trained my husband. And like, he's very strict as well. Like, I can't talk to my husband when he's cycling. Like, no, he's using too much energy talking to you. He needs to focus. So really, really great guy. The other day, the guy was here valeting our cars because that's his other business. He says, no, I also have this side business where I valet cars. This guy charged us, I can tell you this, 950 rands for the one car because it needed a lot of work, it was bigger. And then 850 rands for, other cars. So already they made a cool like 3,000, 4,000 bucks from just one day of valeting our cars. So I'm just saying, clearly we should be encouraging our youth to do something for themselves, because the lessons you're going to learn from that are endless, and they are life lessons. They're not just about business. These are lessons that you will take well into your life. And some of those are resilience. You get to learn how to be resilient in business, in trying something that doesn't work, or maybe you have to keep trying something else. You have to keep, fine-tuning. When I started selling stuff at 23, I started selling flowers, as I was saying earlier. Then I would wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and go to the market to get fresh flowers, come back to my place, make flower arrangements, go deliver them at the various clients, and then still be back at work at 8 o'clock, start work at 8 o'clock. I once did a big wedding job that was a complete disaster because I didn't know how to transport flowers properly. And I did these very cute, these balls of roses. It's so pretty. I worked till the night. They got destroyed as I was driving to Pretoria. I even bought a bakkie when I had that business because I had no interest in looking cute in a fancy car. And I just wanted to build something and keep making money and hustle, and then buy myself like a proper car when I could. And by the way, a bakkie is a proper car. Just, you know what I mean. And when I got to the wedding venue, these things were destroyed. I had to start again and fix them there, and luckily I was working with an event planner that was quite understanding at the time. I was young. I was 23 years old, and I kept hustling. So those kinds of lessons, and the willingness to work for what you want, and the willingness to build your life, it's not just a once-off. It's continuous, but it all adds up. You don't just see people wake up and become successful. No, they start somewhere and they build, they hustle, they build. I used to go to Isando, which is on the other side by the airport, and I would go and buy nail polish and lipstick and sell it, I always sold something from the boot of my car. I went to buy shoes and handbags, resold. I was 23, 24, 25. I was making cool cash because I knew that I just cannot rely on just a job. It has never felt right for me to only just have a job. And I always had to have something on the side. So how did I find the opportunity to sell shoes and handbags? Let me tell you. I used to go to Sandton, and on the odd day when I had money, I'd buy from this other shop. It starts with an N, and then the last one starts with a W. It's 2-letter word. The first one is actually a number, but it is written in full. So I used to go there and say to them, because I used to buy stuff there sometimes, when you're starting out in life, good things are good, you spoil yourself. And I said to them, in the middle of Sandton City, I spoke to these ladies in the store. I said, so tell me, what do you do with the stock? Because things are on sale, right? And then no one ever finishes the sale stock. So what do you do with that stock? Because then there's like the new thing is now coming, the new season, the new this. And I asked them, so what do you do with the stock? And they said to me, they told me exactly where they send it. Guys, I was 24. I was like, okay. They told me where they send the stuff. I went to it was in town. I went there and I said to them, So I hear you guys get the stock from all these stores, particularly the one from Santon, and I would like to buy the goods. And they said, sure. So I bought lots of their shoes, lots of their handbags, and I resold them, you know. No one said to me it was wrong or illegal. I resold them, and I had a market for it. I even distributed to Botswana, which I don't think you should do. You must follow the laws. But I mean, to be honest, by the time I stopped, I only got to understand about distribution rights and things much later when I had this other business when I was in Cape Town. I had a linen store, so I went and bought linen and resold it. I bought cutlery. So I would find places that are selling off at a good price, really quality stuff, and then resell it. And there, I remember I used to sell this brand called Linen House, and in the neighborhood, there was another very fancy linen store, but very boutique. And they came and told me that I wasn't supposed to sell that particular brand. I said, well, I bought it from them. They didn't say to me I mustn't resell it. They saw me buying lots of them. So if they didn't tell me I mustn't resell it, what are you talking about? At the time, I knew nothing about distribution rights. I still have some of the crockery I sold. I sold fine china. I would buy it. I would scout. There is no auction place I didn't know. There is still till today. I love auctions because you get such wonderful gems there. So I'm just saying, you know, there's so much to do if you are just looking for the opportunity. And it doesn't even take a lot of money for some of these, to start some of these things. You start small, you make money, and then you keep growing, you keep doing something, you know. So that was one of the things I used to sell. And there's nothing I haven't sold that was within what I could reach. And please keep it legal. Like, don't do things that will harm you more than build you. So easy money is always offered out there, but don't do it, because you will set yourself back. So you learn resilience. You learn how to be how to dust yourself up quickly and fix something that's not working. You know, problem solving is paramount for an entrepreneur. It is at the top of the things you have to do every single day. And innovation, you get to be so innovative. So you get to try different things, different new things all the time, because that's what business is about. You can't just start something and then live there and hope it works or doesn't work. You have to be constantly fixing it, fine-tuning, seeing where do we go from here, what's happening. So I've never started anything big. I've always started, you know, we'll start small and then we keep building. But the vision is big, but the way to get to the big part of the vision is through small little steps. Because what small little steps afford you is the opportunity to fine-tune, the opportunity to change direction, and the opportunity to set a new course if that one doesn't work. I mean, there was a time when I also had a hair salon business. I mean, that's where I actually met, if some of you know Desmond, Des who owns Signature. I'll tell you now about my loyalty to Signature, besides the fact that Signature restaurant, those who know, besides the fact that it's actually a really nice restaurant, they serve really good food, they are consistent, time and again. I've never been to Signature in the history of its existence, which is 12 years, I think. I've never been to Signature and not be happy with my meal. So, and not just the meal, the service, everything that goes with it. But where I met the guy who owns the place, and his wife owns she does interiors and decor and design, called Cocoon Lifestyle. They used to be my clients at my hair salon, which I opened back in 2005. They were my clients, loyal clients. And for me, there's one thing I can tell you about me is that I am incredibly loyal. And it's one of the things I value the most on people, in people. So if you're my friend and I sense you've been disloyal, or I hear or you've done something that betrays our loyalty, my loyalty to you, I am not happy about it. Probably the friendship ends too immediately. So that is how I actually ended up. So when I got to know that they've opened the restaurant, I can tell you without fail, I don't go to spend my money at restaurants where nobody knows my name. And you can call it a pride thing or an ego thing. That's fine. I think I've earned that. But I actually go because I want to support people who have been there for me in some shape or form. So my loyalty to Signature is so deep because those people were there for me when I was just a young person trying business. And they would come, I'm pretty sure we even made mistakes sometimes, but they were loyal. They would come, and that I can never tell you how much it means to me, because I didn't really come from when I was trying businesses. I didn't come from a place of, people support me. No, I was just like, I just have to, it's who I am. I just have to do something, and I can tell you that I go to places. I'll tell you the places I eat at. I'll eat at Signature. And when I say I, me, my family will eat at Signature. We'll eat at Le Creatives. Signature, Desmond and his wife, they know me. They know my family. Forget the knives that have our name, but they know us. And that's what they do with every patron. You feel like you know them, And I know that the waiters, they know my family. They look after us. I have such a close relationship with every single one of them. For me, I will spend my money there because I see the people. I know their names. I know their family stories. I know where the money is going that I'm spending. So it doesn't matter how much it is, I'll spend it. I will not ask for a discount. I will not ask for anything because I said something about your restaurant on Instagram. No, I don't want that. So I pay full price like everybody. If you're complaining about how expensive the champagne is, yeah, I also pay the same price, believe me. And they deserve it, because this is what we do sometimes. We go and spend money at places where we won't complain, but because it's a black restaurant or black owned business, we want to complain. Why? So support your people, support places that matter to you. So I do that. Like Creatives, I love Chef Wandile. He does amazing job. What he does is art, okay? And his food is beautiful. He is a wonderful human. I absolutely love supporting him. His waiters, his waitresses, I know them, I connect with them. I can go and sit there even if Wandile is not there. I support that. I want to spend my money there. I want to see. I send people there to go enjoy it because I believe in what they do. I believe in him. He's a good person. He's really doing an amazing job. I'll spend my money at, now Solo. I've started going to Solo. I don't know the owners of Solo, but I know the chef there. And Chef Carol used to look after me when there was licorice in Bryanston, where my family and I used to go. So again, for me, I will not go. If I've been to a restaurant and I don't feel like they value my money, I don't want to be just another number. So whatever you do, do it to the best of your ability. And know that whatever you are doing in business, it will multiply. But unfortunately, even if when you're not getting it right, if you don't own up to those mistakes, you will lose the little bit that you have. So I don't know how I got to loyalty, but okay, I talked about resilience, problem solving, innovation, teamwork. Because as an entrepreneur, you get to learn you can't do everything yourself. So even if you don't hire the people, you can get freelancers. You can, get your unemployed siblings, unemployed aunties, uncles, whoever, and get it done. Whatever the job is at hand, get it done. And having come out of this judging when we were doing the jury for the Verve Click Award, I mean, the businesses people are doing are amazing. You know, people are not sitting back and saying, my circumstances are not good. They are pushing on, right? They're pushing on. So let's do it. Find the people who can help you. You also get to learn respect, because nothing is more humbling than business lessons. But you get to learn that money does not come from the people you expect it to come from. Money does not come from the people you expect it to come from. Another thing is that when you have a problem with your invoice, it's not the CEO that's going to solve it. So your ego and your tripping about who you know at the top is not going to help you solve a real problem. When you have a problem with your payment, you want to go straight to the source, the person processing the invoice, and that's not the CEO of the company. But you learn how quickly to not disrespect people, and you don't rely on hierarchy. I know so many senior people that sometimes even in business, when something is not going right, you won't hear me say, it's the last thing I do to run to the most senior person. And when I do that, it's because there's something at stake where really, if we don't do something, things are going to go wrong. So I respect people. I respect the role that people play. And I know that my respecting people at every level always yields results. And I don't do it because I want results. I do it because actually that's the right thing to do. We are all human. We're created equal. It doesn't matter where you come from. You can have more money than the other. It doesn't mean you're better than them. So I care about that. And the ability to network, networking, I get a lot of question about, how hard it is to network for people who are introverts. Guys, you don't have to be extroverted to network. You just need to actually get up and want to change your life and want to go meet people where you can have an opportunity to do something. And then you can pick up your introversion when you get back home, okay? Just learn that it is a tool to get to your dreams, to your goals. It is a tool to get to put food on the table. So you can't sit back and say, no, I'm introverted, I'm not going to do it. No, you need to get up and do it. Find a way. Find a comfort spot for you. Find people that do things that you are passionate about, that you are interested in, where you see an opportunity, because then there will be something to talk about. Then you don't have to start off a conversation or feel like you are going to have a panic attack. Just think about your hunger, okay? So every time you think you're scared to go out there, think about your hunger. And remember that hunger is not going to solve itself. You have got to pick up, to get up and go meet other people and unlock the opportunities. And you don't have to be a social butterfly. You don't have to be flying from one end of the room to another, but just find a person that you can feel comfortable with and connect with them, and get out of your comfort zone. So the introverts must not throw things at me. I'm sorry. You wanted the truth. This is all the stuff I would have said on TV, but of course I only had 8 minutes, so I've just taken advantage of this platform because I've got the time. I don't know what time it is, but my nose is starting to block up, so I realize it's probably time to sleep. So some of the other things that you learn through entrepreneurship, as I close the session, is as I conclude the session, financial literacy. There is something I learned whilst I was running my businesses, is the ability to manage money. Because I also think a lot of people, it's not that they don't make money, it's just that they don't know what to do with it. They don't know how to handle it. And a lot of us, remember, have got very different relationships to money. So you have to understand what your relationship is with money. What does money mean for you? And learn how to handle money in business. Remember, cash flow. Cash flow is everything. Cash flow is everything. Cash flow enables the life you want, but cash flow, what I mean by that is you can pay yourself a salary. You can pay other people's salaries. You can restock. You can rebuild the business. You can reinvest in the business. You can, whatever money you make, don't think, woo, I'm rich. And then, these people who write about when I first made my millionaire, when I first became a millionaire, when I first made my million. Guys, come on. People who know money know how rubbish that thing is. When you say you are a millionaire, do you have R1 million cash in your bank account? Is the question. If not, then okay. Some people are millionaires on paper or in their dreams. But don't be so obsessed with things like that, millionaire at 30. What do you guys call them? Those people that are, sorry guys, I don't mean to attack you, but these things are so bizarre. Like I became a millionaire at, those things that people say, I became a millionaire at 24, 25. When you say became a millionaire, do you mean your company turned over $1 million? Two different things, honey. So remember that the company, the company makes the money. You must have a relationship, an employment relationship with your company, where if you need to be paying a salary, pay yourself a salary and do what's right, pay tax, okay? And then what you need to do is at the end of that financial year, please be disciplined. First of all, be disciplined. Even if you're just selling potatoes, be disciplined about money. So at the end of that financial year, and you need to start putting proper financial discipline in your business, whatever it is, you can then take dividends. You pay dividends, and I hope that you start businesses that you actually hold in companies and not your personal capacity, okay? When you're going to start a business, register the business so that you become legit, and pay dividends when you have made a profit and you don't need to reinvest in the business, and you just need a breather. Now that's money that comes to you, okay? That's money that comes to you depending on what you've structured, okay? But talk to a financial advisor. These services are free at your bank, guys. Financial advice is free at your bank. Don't go around talking to people who've never even handled money and you think they're going to give you great advice. I can tell you that money can blind you if you don't go in with the right discipline. And money goes out very quickly, because remember now, when you're starting to get into real business, and I say real business, like, you've hired people, you have to pay VAT, first of all. You have to pay PAYE, pay as you earn, for your people. You have to pay UIF for your people. You pay life cover for your people. You pay your group risk is called. You pay, so you might think when we're millionaire, that actually you just made a loss, okay? So be responsible with your business and know that you're building something that impacts not just your life, but people, the people you care to look after, and that you are really leaving a lasting legacy. So financial literacy is such an important thing. And when you are running a business, you learn. So don't do, hand to mouth. Don't just, every time an invoice has been paid, well, now you're chowing the money from the business. No, build, learn to build. Again, I said, you have nothing to lose. So it's not like what's the point of looking cute in a car that you've now gone and eroded all the little bit you've made in business that you could have used to rebuild the business, invest in other things, and rebuild and invest. Be patient, things come. And I can assure you, if there's one thing I've learned in business, is that patience pays. So even when you're losing something, don't think losing is the end. I remember this morning, in fact, I got an email from one of my clients at one of the big banks. This bank has been going through like budget cuts I mean, I've been doing business at this bank since 2015, and there's always budget cuts. So, and you know what it's like, the first thing they do when there's budget cuts is cut the contractors' consulting budgets and professional services. So we've been constantly told to cut rates, cut they terminate contracts, they stop projects, they change direction. And last year, I mean, in the middle of a really tough period when I really needed them, they called us as suppliers and said, you cut your rates by 30% or we terminate your contract. Now, in consulting business, the margin is not huge. So you're working with really tight margins, and then you are told to cut 30%. And no employee or contractor is willing to cut anything. They actually want more. So, and when you're like, actually there's nothing more to cut, you know, and they eventually they then say, listen, we've changed direction, this project is being terminated, we're not renewing your contract. And you know, that's part of the business. You get to deal with that disappointment. But guess what? This morning I got an email from the same people, and they said, we're so happy to let you know that we've now refreshed our strategy and we enjoyed working with your company. We would love to work with you again. Let's talk about the new scope, and it's even a better opportunity now. So it's so important to understand that, you know, be resilient and understand that things will happen, and the times that you get a drop or a disappointment in something, you've got a little bit of a buffer, you know, a little bit of cash that you can maneuver, because ultimately what you want is freedom. You want financial freedom, and there is no empowerment, there is no progress without solving for the economic freedom part of it. So I want to close off by saying, what you also learn as an entrepreneur is how to set goals, and go after them. And I just gave you an example of how patience pays off. You can't take every failure, every disappointment personally, because you will die. You will die. So you go ahead and you take the disappointments and not dwell in them, because guess what? The next opportunity might be on the other side of that disappointment. But even as you are winning, you don't sit in the winning and forget that the money has to keep coming. So you celebrate the win, but you keep going. And that's the thing with entrepreneurship. It's relentless. You have to keep going. But I can tell you, you get to a time where you can actually you can breathe. You get to a point where you can actually just, you know, and understand that you've worked and you are at a point where you can allow yourself some breathing room. But you can't just want to breathe immediately. Like, no, work, you know, work. So, and above everything else, you have got to drive yourself to succeed. You have got to be determined to succeed. And, you know, don't personalize failure in business. No matter what you try, if it doesn't, I mean, I've tried so many things. And I think somebody once asked me, I said I've had 7 businesses or 8, or that was like the things I had done over the years. And they asked me, so all those failed? I'm like, actually, I've never seen them as failure. Maybe the one business where I put a lot of money, the franchise business, that definitely failed. But the other businesses where and guys, I'm tired. I need to go to sleep. I'm trying to wake myself up with the work situation. But yeah, so I never saw any of the businesses I had in my previous attempts as failures, because they built up to get to where I am. So there's nothing that you do along the way in business that is wasted. I mean, I remember the hair salon business, I ended up giving it to the guy who used to work there, who was one of the guys working in the salon, and he still runs it till today. So you know, there's something to be said for how you can also change people's lives through what you do. And there is nothing that will ever be wasted if you just focus on building yourself up. And I hope in some shape or form I've helped. So those are some of the things I would have said on television, but okay, we got cut. But I'm grateful for the opportunity, and I'm grateful that you hung out with me to just get a sense of you know what I wanted to talk about, and just share a bit more of my own experience, because you know I'm not talking about something I have not done. I'm talking about a path that I've walked, and I hope that in some shape or form it helps somebody else. So feel free to share this. I'm gonna post it here, and I'll also post it on my YouTube channel. So feel free to share it with whomever you think could benefit from it, and feel free to also post them comments, because I enjoy reading them. Some of these just fly by and I don't get to read them. So you can comment when I've posted it. I'd appreciate it. Thank you. And I'll respond where I can. But that's all I intended to do. Now I have to go wash my face, because that's a whole process of removing makeup. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate your wonderful comments. Thank you. It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. And I'll say good night now. Thank you.